three. Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no! Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course. And today I've got two video clips for you. The first video clip, though, that we're taking a look at here, we are in True Brothers, and I'm showing this because I feel as though we need a bit of a refresher on how to do defensive action on this map. And why I feel we need some refresher on this is, over, I don't know, the last few weeks or month maybe, I mean, I have gotten this map so many times, right? And I'm sure all of you have as well, and everyone complains that everyone goes on one side and leaves the other side open, and it's all over, and why even bother try? Well, I had put up a video about this before. I think it was called Playing Defensively, potentially. And I talked about how you need to check your ego at the door and say, you know, oh well, looks like the enemy team is all going to go that way. And then what you need to do is you need to go the other way and play defense on that other direction. So in this case, this example we're looking at here, my team is all going to go on the west side, or sorry, the east side. On the west side, it's only going to be me and two other cruisers. There's going to be me in my Fubuki. There's going to be the Miyoko right there. We're looking at him now. And there's also going to be an Atlanta. There's only the three of us. Now, obviously, playing this defensive strategy is determined, or you know, the outcome is going to be based on the type of ship you're in. If you're in a Japanese cruiser, you can still play the defense. I do it all the time in my Miyoko, my Mogami, even in the Ibuki. If you're in an American cruiser, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work as easily. It probably will. I have done it in my Pensacola before, but it's a little harder. And why I prefer it in the Japanese cruisers anyway is, well, one, I'm biased towards the Japanese ships, but you have torpedoes on your Japanese cruisers. And torpedoes really are sort of like the ultimate defensive weapon when you're in this sort of situation, because not only are you denying the enemy certain areas of the map at certain times, but you're also making, excuse me, you're making them maneuver around and not get to where they want to go as quickly as possible. So, that being said, this is our refresher. You can see how it's playing out now. You can see that it's just me and this Miyoko, and the Atlanta is coming shortly. So, we need to play this defensively. Now, again, obviously, I do prefer to play defensively when I'm in a destroyer. It's a lot easier to do. I can maintain the distance and not be seen while just chucking torpedoes down the range. I mean, in your cruisers, like I said, it definitely can be done, but it's going to be a little harder. So, the Miyoko and I, we have just launched torpedoes. Now, this was a little sketchy here on behalf of the Miyoko, but it pays off. You'll see what I'm talking about here momentarily. There we go. See, he just launched torpedoes. Those almost hit me. That would have been catastrophic. To be fair, I had some fault to play there. I shouldn't have been riding his ass so close. But anyway, I continue to put torpedoes downrange, just trying to stop the advance. I'm not concerned, and none of my two other ships here that are with me, we are not concerned about capping this point. Don't get fixated on the cap point. I know, this requires a lot of faith, I know, but if you are in this situation, the cap point that you're doing the defensive action near is not your primary focus. It is not. Let the enemy cap it, whatever. Doesn't matter. You need to place some trust and some faith in the allies who are conducting the major push on the opposite side. You need to have some faith in those people to actually fulfill their push, right? To actually complete it and to win. It doesn't always happen, and it's a real heartbreaker when it doesn't, and it's pretty damn frustrating too, but this is just what I found that you have to do. I mean, short of just spamming hate in the chat, which I do not recommend you do, just don't. I mean, we're all people, right? Show a little bit of respect, but short of doing that, there's nothing you can do, and even if you do that, it's not going to accomplish anything. It's just going to piss people off, and they're probably not going to play as well. So you can see I did pop smoke. I got a little close to the enemies there, right? But still not I haven't been seen. I do now have the Atlanta here with me, and just continuing to put torpedoes downrange. You can see I haven't actually hit anything. Haven't hit anything with these torpedoes, but what it is doing is it's taking these battleships and these cruisers that I'm facing off against, it's taking them and making them think twice, and they are now turning and maneuvering away, and it's buying us more time. We want to buy as much time as possible for our allies. Hopefully, if the enemy is stupid enough, they'll continue their push on this side even while our allies are capping their base. Or, well, taking that third point, I should say. So that's the objective here, and so far it's going pretty well. Bit of coffee. On a side note, happy Thanksgiving Day to any of my Canadian subscribers. My plans for today is simply to get this video up and then pull myself together and go stuff my face with turkey. Can't wait. So a few enemy ships in the distance, right? There were 4 in total. We had those other 2 that we just saw, and then these 2 here that popped up. I think it was a Cleveland that I just put torpedoes into. The Cleveland really didn't have any idea. Yeah, there he is there. He didn't really have any idea of what I was doing or where I was. I am in the center of the point, but again, this was not to cap the point. This was just simply, you know, where I wanted to go. But that Cleveland is sort of stopped there, and he's just taking shots off at my Miyoko and my Atlanta friend. And he was kind of in a reverse. Now he's going forward, which is great news for me, because in come my torpedoes. Yes. The first spread, missed him, right? Yeah, not a big deal. Second spread, though, I got him with 2. Almost had that third one, would have taken him out with the third torpedo, but whatever. 2 torpedo hits on the Cleveland. He only has a quarter health left. He has no repair ability, so that health is gone. He's never getting it back. So that was excellent. But we still have these other 3 full health enemies that we need to be aware of and take care of here. I have been spotted. It's the Cleveland right there that's spotting me, but because of the islands around me, not a big concern, right? I can get behind these islands and not have to worry about it. The torpedoes I just launched, those were intended for the Aoba. The Aoba, if you can see there on my screen, is just about to come around that island, so I've got a little bit of a surprise for him when he does. Hopefully, he does end up plowing into them. I am taking a bit of returning fire here, but not too concerned. The enemy aim isn't too great. Here come my torpedoes for the Oba. You can see him over there. There's 1, and there's 2, and he's gone. Yes. That was an excellent ambush on my behalf. He didn't know what the hell was going on. In the meantime, I have more torpedoes on their way out. The Cleveland there missed them, but I do have this New Mexico coming up, and I get 2 nice torpedo hits on him. So excellent. More coffee. So that's not too bad at all. Right? The Cleveland is almost gone. The Aoba is gone. Yes, I don't have any engines right now, but no one can see me, and they're turning away from me, so it's not a big deal. And my team, the allies who I have here with me, are starting to comment, like, you know, good job, Thotgor. Those are some awesome, well-placed torpedoes, which they were. Thank you very much. No, I'm not full of myself. Anyway, engine is back, and we're going to continue our push here to get these enemies gone. And to bring it back to the whole defensive strategy again, you can see that I'm just circling in and amongst these rocks, right? In and amongst these little islands, land masses, whatever the hell you want to call them. That is what I'm doing. And I'm just using them to break cover, to conceal myself, and to make sure I'm not spotted. Again, my AA is off. You can see these enemy planes hovering around. They're trying to find me, but my AA is off. I'm not letting them know where I am. You really, really don't want to let planes know where you are, especially in sort of this stage of the battle, because this is where your defense is really going to be the hardest, right? Because you can see the enemy is pushing up. They're fed up at this point. We've taken out one of their ships. I've caused a bit of damage to them. They're just like, you know, whatever, let's just get up here. So they're taking pot shots off at me. I don't have the health to be able to take these sorts of hits, so that's why I really don't want to be seen at all by anyone. The torpedoes I launched off at the New Mexico again, he did a nice dodge there. He was able to place himself between that island and my torpedoes, and there was enough room for him to pass through without being hit. He got lucky, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. My torpedoes are going to be reloading, and we are going to give him some good news. Now, I am spotted again, and this is sort of... this is what you have to be careful about with this Fubuki. The Fubuki, I love this destroyer. I think it's a great destroyer, but yes, it is a slow destroyer. You can still get a good speed of 35 knots in it, but as soon as you start turning and maneuvering, you lose a lot of that speed. So you need to keep that in mind when you're captaining this ship. Just be aware of how slow this destroyer is compared to other destroyers, right? Like the Fubuki, you can tell, is really overloaded. When you go from the Hatsuharu to the Fubuki, you'll notice it right away. Just a little tip on the side there. While my torpedoes are going in for the New Mexico, I upgraded to the final hull. You lose your back turret, but I find that the ship is a lot more maneuverable and just seems quicker. It's almost as if you've shed that weight, right? And now you're just doing a little better. So there goes my torpedoes for the New Mexico. Fantastic torpedoes, I would say. Got him. Not too bad at all. You can see in terms of the defensive strategy, this is working really, really well. Not only are we holding the enemies back, there were originally 4 enemy ships if you recall. Now there's only 1 enemy ship because the Cleveland's gone, the Oba's gone, the New Mexico's gone. And we just have this guy back here to deal with. And on the east side, my allies were able to continue their push. They didn't pussyfoot around, right? They actually continued their push. Oh, sorry, the Cleveland's still alive. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We win. That is how you play a defensive action on Twin Brothers, everyone. Preferably you're in a destroyer when you're doing this, but you can do it in a cruiser. And just keep in mind your objective in all of that. And look, I mean, I'm top of the team overall, and all I did was defensive strategy. But your objective there is just to delay the enemy. You're not looking to cap the enemy base, nothing like that. You are delaying them. Alright, moving into our next clip. This is my Ibuki. I'm in the Ibuki, yes. It's not the maiden voyage of the Ibuki, but I think this is like the 2nd or 3rd time that I've had it out. Why does that sound familiar? I think I've said that in a video before. Yeah, oh well, whatever. Maybe it's the 4th time I've taken it out. But I wanted to show this battle because the overall results at the end of this battle were incredibly surprising to me. You can see that I am grouped up here with another clanmate of mine, and he is in a Baltimore, I believe, and I'm in my Ibuki. So we're just sort of, at this point here, talking on TeamSpeak, figuring out where we want to go, what we want to do. In these higher tiers, and we're both in cruisers, because cruisers get a lot more difficult to play at higher tiers. I find that what'll happen is you'll get taken out really early in the battle, and it's really not what you want. Remember, if you recall, I had talked about how destroyers are really important in the late game. If your destroyers can stay alive to mid to late battle, they're really going to come in handy. Well, as you move up in the tiers, the same can be said for your cruisers. Yes, your cruisers are very important not to die within the first maybe 5-10 minutes. It's in the late game in these higher tiers that your cruisers really pay off, because suddenly everyone's on not full health. They're not they can only take a few hits, for example, and your cruisers are incredibly good at dishing out a whole lot of damage very quickly, right? So that is why you want to survive and try and stay alive when you're in these later tiers. Tier 9 and 10, same can be said for tier 8. Just be aware of that. Try to play a little more defensively at the beginning, and then once mid to late battle approaches, take advantage of situations as they arise to help your team achieve victory. That's more or less what we're doing right now. My ally and I. You'll see that we just sort of circle around our spawn point, basically just taking shots off at any ships we can, just to try and do some damage here and there. More coffee. And you can see the enemy is making the mistakes that I just sort of talked about. Not necessarily their battleships, right? The battleships are going to get into position as they normally do. But you can see some of the cruisers out there. They're close. They're within range of some of my allies. My allies are starting to put shots into them. This is what you want to try to avoid in your cruisers at higher tiers. Ideally, you'd be... Yeah, it's probably a little controversial here, but ideally what you would want to do is kind of at the beginning of the game play as a battleship, right? Or if you don't have the range, because you need range to play as a battleship, if you don't have a range, then I would suggest 15 kilometers and above. 15-kilometer range, like you would see in a Mogami, that is really close, and I wouldn't try and get into range right at the beginning of the battle like this. Instead, with your cruisers, support your battleships, right? Provide AA cover for the battleships as they're moving into position. Take a look at your aircraft carrier. Does your aircraft carrier need AA cover? These are things you should be doing at the beginning of the battle. And then once mid to late battle rolls around, you can sort of branch out and do other things. And you can see that we are doing that here right now. I'm not directly providing AA cover to battleships, nor am I directly providing AA cover to our carriers, but I'm staying in the middle, and where we spawned, so that the majority of my ally ships are still around me, so I'm still sort of indirectly providing AA cover for any ships that may need it. Also, sticking with my ally in the Baltimore, right? Clearly, 2 ships are better than 1. So, we do put shots into this enemy destroyer over here. He's within range, made some mistakes early on, right, and got spotted, and so we put some shots into him. Unfortunately, I don't have my high explosive loaded. I just have armor piercing. I do queue up my high explosive, but yeah, we'll see if it actually becomes important here. In terms of my Ibuki itself, if you're wondering what this ship is like, I played it in closed beta, and in closed beta I loved it. Right now, where my Ibuki stands is I don't have any modules researched for it, and this is sort of the folly of these later tiers. This Ibuki, as it sits and as we look at it right now, is worse than my Mogami at tier 8. Yeah, my Mogami is fully upgraded, so she's ready to go. This Ibuki is completely stock. I've got nothing on it. A few modules that I've purchased, but that's about it. The captain isn't retrained, so this is worse than my Mogami. And a lot of people will tell you, and it's a good plan, to save your free experience when you buy your new ships. You can just when you buy your new ship, you can just research all the modules on it and get it fully upgraded, or near to fully upgraded as soon as you get it. And that's a great strategy to use. I try to use it, but I don't have the patience. I'm not just buying my way to the top here. I'm playing these ships and earning the experience. I'm not converting experience, I'm not buying credits, I'm playing these through and going with it in that way. So for me to buy a bunch of free experience and fully upgrade the ship right away, it doesn't do it for me. I'm not learning anything along the way, and I need all those failures along the way in order to learn the ship, and then just share that information with you guys, right? so that all my grinding experience you guys can benefit from, and maybe not have to grind yourselves. Was that a pun? I don't know. Think about it. Anyway. We did take out the Fubuki. He's gone. You can see him just sort of sinking right there. But there are more enemy destroyers around, right? So there's another Fubuki. Actually, it could have been a Kagero. Maybe that's Kagero. I have no idea. But there's another one, and putting shots into him. But unfortunately, I don't get any shots into him. Land any shots into him. Let's count those torpedoes. Yeah, it was a Fubuki, 3 spreads 3. So I managed to dodge all of them, right? It wasn't hard to do. I wasn't going to stay in that part of the channel. But still, good shot by the Fubuki. He did 2 narrows, 1 wide just in case. I've got some enemies coming around the island, and I really wanted to shoot torpedoes, but I do see my ally over there, so I'm not willing to do it. This was awesome. Well, you can see my ally here in the Baltimore. You can see the Ibuki, right? So my ally did that first salvo that did all the damage to him. I do the second salvo that brings him back down to that amount. A little over a quarter, maybe a third health left. But keep in mind, at tier 9, your cruisers have the repair ability. You can see it right here on my screen on the bottom. You press U, and I get 2 charges of repair. So keep that in mind for your higher tier cruisers. They do have repair abilities. And we want to get this Ibuki gone. We just keep putting shots into this Ibuki, right? And in fact, this is sort of where it starts to go wrong for us. Got too focused on the Ibuki. You can see I do play it a little safe in that I'm turning to put these islands in between myself and the enemies. Unfortunately, my ally in the Baltimore isn't able to do this because is just too close. Like if he would have turned, he would have grounded himself and then for sure, sort of guaranteed himself a death. So he just has to keep going, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep following him. I'm going to keep supporting him along the way. There's the Ibuki again. See him off in the distance. Want to try and do something about that guy. It's but as I had stated, we get too focused on him. You can see there are a lot of other enemy ships around here, but we're still firing at this Ibuki. We want to get him gone. I haven't been taking that many hits because the enemies have been focusing on the Baltimore, my ally. He's a clanmate, excellent player by the way, but they're all focusing on him, and there's nothing I can do other than keep firing at the enemy to try to maybe get the Ibuki gone so we can start focusing on someone else. You can see the salvos I'm putting into him are really, really hastefully? Whatever, are really quickly aimed. I'm not taking my time, and I've got enemies just popping up right in front of me, right? And I'm still putting shots into the Ibuki. Finally, we get the Ibuki gone. My ally there, Raza, I think his name is, he's still alive, but he's almost dead. So close to dying here, so need to try and do something. There is their Lexington, so I'm going to immediately put high explosive shots into him, try and get this guy gone, lining up torpedoes on him as well, right? Why not? He's in my range, sure he's driving away from me, but whatever, I'm going to take the chance, I'm going to launch those torpedoes off at him. Continue to put shots into him. Unfortunately, my ally is gone. He passed away, and then I've got these torpedo bombers coming in, so I immediately cut throttle. I do a hard port to starboard, so I'm turning into the torpedoes, and I manage the dodge just by the skin of my teeth, but I managed that dodge. I'm sure that carrier player is cursing my name, but whatever. So bringing it back to full speed, high explosive still loaded, I'm still pumping shots into the Lexington, want to try and get this guy gone. You can see in terms of the scores, we are losing, but it's still fairly close, so you can't necessarily say that, it's one-sided at this time. We've got this whole air war going on in overhead, which is really cool. But at the same time, it makes me wish, that I had the upgraded hull and that I had a little more upgrades here for my ship, so that I could really get some of those planes down. In fact, you can see that my Ibuki, I've had it only a short time now, that I keep forgetting to put on the active sonar ability, and I still have the A defense ability on. Yeah, whatever. So I do take some dive bombers there, and I'm getting damaged pretty well. I'm still focused on the Lexington, but I do need to keep aware of this enemy over there. Right there, we can see him, that I just launched torpedoes at. So I'm hoping those torpedoes are going to get him, but nah, they're not going to. It's unfortunate. The carrier pops out of my view. I can't see him anymore, but I am within some smoke right now. There is an allied destroyer, I think, who laid, there he is there, who laid some smoke down for me, which helped out, right? I was able to break contact with this enemy battleship here, and circle around and line up maybe some more torpedoes for him, or just get a better shot, but unfortunately, it's just not meant to be. I do end up dying. But, like I said, I am really, really surprised with the overall results of this battle. I do end up finishing off the carrier. Yes, that was him, so it was but a flesh wound. I burnt him, so I got arsonist. Excellent job. So the carrier is gone, and we are now ahead in points, 700 to 400, so we are going to win this. Just to review some of the mistakes that we made, right? Again, try not to focus too heavily on one target and put up those blinders, right, so you don't see the other targets. That's sort of the mistake that my ally and I made with that Ibuki. We got too caught up with the Ibuki and trying to get him gone that we weren't maneuvering enough. We weren't being aware of the situation, and we weren't repositioning ourselves given the enemies that were around us. So just try and keep that in mind. I know it's hard to do. It is hard to do because you get so focused, right? And you're so into the game that you just block all these other things. But try and keep a more open picture of the battlefield. So the enemy battleship does end up getting destroyed, and we're just going to skip ahead here. We don't need to see the rest of the battle. We do win, but look at these results. 311 credits, 11,000 credits, 6,300 experience. I do end up second overall in the team, just behind the tier 10, maybe? Or maybe that was a destroyer, I can't remember. But it was the credits that I was most happy with, right? I did actually earn credits. That was amazing. Anyway, I do hope that you guys enjoyed the video today. I hope you were able to take something out of the video as well. Keep in mind your defensive strategy on two brothers, and not to stay too focused on one enemy. Just keep the overall picture in mind. So like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching it through. If you've got anything to say, leave a comment, hit the old like button. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to hit the subscribe button as well. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.